first 5 games, we learned a lot about this football team. And all I've ever wanted was that this team get measured on what they do, not on the sins of the past or how other teams have performed in the past here. And it's probably why I was a little jumpy given the criticism they were getting prior to this game. But we've learned a lot out of it. We certainly know that our roster has improved considerably each year, and we're going to continue to improve it from a personnel standpoint. And I came into this season excited to watch this football team, given the level of commitment they had to being good and the level of commitment they had to staying together. And that's why I've never lost faith in them. The Georgia game was a great example of a team that had a lot of adversity, that if you just keep fighting and keep believing and keep sticking together, that you can play your way through it. It was a lot more adversity than I ever want in a football game because we knew we needed some adversity to really see if we could do it. But I think all the lessons that we learned up to that point that we showed some improvement on. And, you know, the freight train that hit us in Florida, it happened so late we didn't handle it well. And we all agreed on that. There were a lot of discussions after that game on when we get back in that situation, how are we going to be better prepared for it. And I was just real proud of our team and how they competed. But I also told the team that that's not something really to pat ourselves on the back for, because that's the standard. And when you come to Tennessee or you go anywhere, we get a lot as players. We get a free education, we get the best facilities in the world, we get a great support from the fans, that it's a two-way street. And that's the minimum expectation that we have, is that you go lay it on the line for 60 minutes. And now what we got to learn to do is elevate our standard of execution, certainly during the whole 4 quarters, especially in some of the things that happen on defense, but also late in the game, and how we need to manage the end of the game so we come out of there with a better result. We have a ring that is sort of forms the core values, if you will, of our team. And I use a ring because everybody wants to get a ring at the end of the season, win a championship. And we have kind of our goals from a results standpoint on the real edge of the ring, whether it's SEC champions or top 25, bowl champions, all those program standards that we have. But there's a ring inside the ring that is how you get there, and it's intangibles. And we have 4 on how we compete. 1 is your attitude, which is your mindset on every play, how you handle adversity, how you handle success. 2 is your discipline that you play with, knowing what to do, knowing how to do it, and why it's important to do it that way, as far as your alignment, your assignment, your technique. 3 is toughness, a level of just bone, physical, mental toughness that you play with for 60 minutes. All right? And then 4th is effort, how much you're willing to strain every play through the play for 60 minutes. And that's where we start with this team, on those 4 things. And I tell the team, and I've told them a lot, I told them the night before the game, that you have a choice in a football game, and you have a choice every play, that you can choose to strain the ring. That means when you get the signal that I'm going to be disciplined and I'm going to line up right and I'm going to communicate right, and when the ball turns over, I'm going to play with a level of effort and toughness that nobody can match. And that's hard. And it's painful, and it hurts when you're doing it 40 times, 50 times a game. It's hard. But your alternative is the pain of regret. So you have a strain of the ring. All right, I have a choice. And let me tell you, each one's going to hurt. That's what they got to learn. That it's going to hurt. And you got to decide which hurt you want. Do you want strain at that time and hurt? Or do you want to, the next day, have the hurt of the pain of regret? And we had a lot of regret when we watched that film. We made a ton of mistakes, but most of the mistakes came down to the strain of the ring. Because you look at what happened on defense in the 2nd quarter, in the 4th quarter, they're running the same plays, we're running the same calls, and we look pretty darn good. But in the 1st quarter and the 3rd quarter, there's plays where we look really bad. and it comes down to straining the ring. And then in the fourth quarter, we have 2 opportunities on offense to go down there and win the game, and we don't get it run. And it's a level of discipline. Because I think that's the second area that this team's got to grow on. Number one is we got to strain the ring for every play in the game. But then number 2 is understanding how to execute in the critical moments of the game. And I've always said that the play doesn't care who makes it. You know, people always say you got to go make a play. And you really don't. You don't have to make a play. The play doesn't care who makes it. The guys that make the play are the guys that show up around the ball when the play is ready to present itself, which means you go execute the play. And when you try too hard to make a play, you end up breaking down on some of the simple fundamentals.